A few days ago, I had a very respectful discussion with these very friendly Muslim apologists.
Wait, stop.
Can you
Leave the bloody Bible! Leave the Bible alone, you don't believe in it!
In which I made the outrageous claim that Islam treats the Kaaba as this center of worship for the Almighty Allah and for Abrahamic religion, but in reality, the Kaaba is entirely disconnected from Abrahamic religion, from history, and that it is merely an Islamic adoption from pagan times. To build my argument, I used the premise that the Quran says that the Kaaba was the first house built for Allah, and that Allah tasked Abraham with proclaiming this message of the Kaaba and of pilgrimage to the Kaaba to humanity. The point here is that if that was indeed true, if Allah in the past, in Abraham's time, did indeed give Abraham this big task, then this would of course mean that we would find the Kaaba somewhere in Abrahamic religion. This would mean we could verify historically that the Kaaba was indeed a place of pilgrimage and worship from around the world. When I made the point that according to the Quran, Abraham was supposed to deliver this message to mankind, our dear friend Hamza made the objection and asked me where I get that from.
I don't understand.
The Quran gives Abraham and Ishmael the mission to spread this to the entire world so that everyone comes. This is the major place. This is the mother of cities.
Where does he do that?
And yet it has no history within Christianity and
Judaism.
Where
does Allah say about Abraham and Ishmael were sent to the whole world? Where are you getting that from?
I didn't say they were sent to the whole world. I said that.
It's exactly what you just said.
Did I say they were sent to the world? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if I said that. The issue was.
What did you mean then?
They were told to tell the people from around the world to come to the Kaaba.
You said it again. You just did it again.
Isn't that
tell
what the Quran
people
says?
from around the world.
Sorry.
How is Ishmael and I? No, 1 second.
If I need to make it correct,
I'm going to tell the people around the world.
I found it very strange that Hamza actually made this objection and tried to argue that this is something that I just came up with. This is general knowledge. Let me show you exactly where I got this outrageous claim from. I take this, as I said, from the Quran itself. Apparently, I'm more informed about the Quran. In Quran chapter 22, verse 26, it says, "And mention, when we designated for Abraham the site of the house, saying, do not associate anything with me, and purify my house for those who perform tawaf, circumambulation, and those who stand in prayer, and those who bow and prostrate." And in 27, it then says, "And proclaim to humanity the pilgrimage, the Hajj," or proclaim to the people, or proclaim to mankind. The word here is nas, translated as mankind, used throughout the Quran again and again for the same purpose. "And proclaim to mankind the pilgrimage. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every distant pass." It even absurdly goes on and says that they may witness benefit for themselves and mention the name of Allah on known days over what He has provided for them of animals. So eat of them and feed the miserable and poor. Then let them end their untidiness and fulfill their vows and perform circumambulation around the ancient house. So according to the Quranic narrative, this was started by Abraham. Abraham proclaimed it to mankind, and people came from distant places, distant passes, and did those rituals which exist today within Islam. And yet, we don't see anything about the Kaaba in history. We don't have any reference to such a place in Abrahamic religion and tradition. Nothing.
Look, you're acting like Islam was invented in the 7th century.
Yes, Hamza, I do act like Islam was invented in the 7th century. That's the entire point. That's why I'm making these arguments. Because as I view it, Muhammad was born into a pagan culture, a polytheistic Arab culture. Muhammad took monotheistic Abrahamic elements from Jews and Christians and took the one central center of worship which he knows, which is the Kaaba, and made a mixed religion called Islam out of that. And messed it up big time, as you can see. Even if we go into the Tafsirs, the interpretations of the Quran, very well-known ones, such as the Tafsir of Ibnu Katsir, which is the most renowned exegesis of the Quran in the world. It says further about this Quran verse, "And proclaim to mankind the Hajj," meaning announce the pilgrimage to mankind and call them to perform pilgrimage to this house, which we have commanded you to build. And here, the interpreters of the Quran add a story which is widely referenced and which is still distributed today, to this day. because it is based on several very reliable narrators. It was said that Ibrahim said, "O Lord, how can I convey this to the people when my voice will not reach them?" It was said, "Call them and we will convey it." So Ibrahim stood up and said, "O mankind, your Lord has established a house, so come on pilgrimage to it." It is said that the mountains lowered themselves so that his voice would reach all the regions of the earth, and those who were still in their mother's wombs, in their father's loins, would hear the call. The response came from everyone in the cities, deserts, and countryside, and those whom Allah has decreed will make the pilgrimage until the day of resurrection. At your service, O Allah, at your service. This is a summary of the narrations from Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Ikrimah, Said bin Jubair, and others among the Salaf. And Allah knows best.
Kita baca dari Tafsir Ibnu Katsir terjemahan Indonesia. Dan berserulah kepada manusia untuk mengerjakan haji, yaitu yang menyeru manusia untuk berhaji, serta mengajak mereka untuk haji ke rumah yang telah kami perintahkan untuk membangunnya ini. Lalu, diceritakan bahwa Ibrahim berkata, "Ya Robku, bagaimana aku menyampaikan hal ini kepada manusia sedangkan suaraku tidak dapat menjangkau mereka?" Allah berfirman, "Berserulah, dan aku yang akan menyampaikan." Maka, Ibrahim berdiri di atas sebuah batu dan berseru, "Hai manusia! Sesungguhnya Rabb kalian telah menjadikan sebuah rumah, maka berhajilah kalian." Dikatakan, saat itu gunung pun tunduk, hingga suaranya sampai ke pelosok bumi, dan Allah memperdengarkan sampai kepada anak yang masih ada di rahim ibunya, dan di tulang sulbi ayahnya. Semua yang mendengarnya, berupa batu, pasir dan pohon-pohon, serta siapa saja yang telah dicatat oleh Allah untuk pergi haji hingga hari kiamat, telah menjawabnya, "Labaik Allahumma labaik."
So, according to the traditional narrative, and according to the interpretation of this Quran verse, which already explicitly says that Abraham was given this task to invite mankind to the Kaaba, Abraham did indeed invite mankind to the Kaaba, and Allah aided him in that, and people came from all around the world. Of course, what I think about this is that this was important to Muhammad. Muhammad was in a tiny, backward place, which was clueless about the rest of the world. To him, there were people, Arabs, and some others who would come to the Kaaba, and this was very significant to him. So in his mind, and by the Quran's narrative, the world was coming to the Kaaba. It was a big, huge thing. People from all around the world would flock to the Kaaba, when in reality, it was just this tiny little place. Dear Hamza, dear Muslim apologists, this is where I get my claim from. This is why I say, if that was true, we would find the Kaaba as a central element within biblical Abrahamic tradition. We would find the historicity of the Kaaba as a place of worship in the world, as a place of gathering, which is known everywhere. We would find Mecca as the mother of cities, as it is called in the Quran. But in reality, we don't even see any mention of anything close to Mecca until around the times of the emergence of Islam. And in reality, we don't see any mention of the Kaaba until Islam. This is supporting evidence that Islam is false, unless you can prove us wrong and find us some piece of evidence and some explanation as to how exactly the Kaaba was this universal place of worship and this central place, the central house of Allah. But somehow it got lost from the memory of mankind and from the memories of all the Jews and Christians. Islam is nonsense, clear as day. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day and stay away from Islam.